everybody, and welcome to another book reading, or just a look at another book. I've kind of developed a bit of a collection of coffee table books and assorted cookbooks and encyclopedias with illustrations, so at this time I'm using a lot of hard drive space for another project, so I can't really record too many gameplay videos, so I'll be doing some more book viewings and videos that I can record on the phone for a little while, which honestly is probably a good thing, so I can work on framing shots and lighting and everything like that. But for tonight, we're going to be taking a look at a cookbook, in this case the Better Homes and Gardens Golden Treasury of Cooking. This book was printed in 1973 and has somehow wound up in my possession. I can't exactly remember how this happened, but it has. If you see any smoke, my house is not burning down. I've got some moths that found their way into the home, and I've got some incense lit to keep them away from the light. So, without further ado, I hope you all are enjoying your night or your day, wherever or whenever it is for you. I hope it's going well, and let's get into the Better Homes and Gardens Golden Treasury of Cooking. This book goes over many decades of American cooking. As you might be able to see, it was copyrighted in 1973. This is the first edition, second printing. It starts out in the 1930s, goes to the 1940s, the 1950s, the 1960s, fun with fondue, interesting, and then ends in the 1970s, despite the fact this book was printed in 1973. There are a lot of beautiful and mouth-watering illustrations in this book. 5 decades of good food. Out of the vast array of kitchen-tested, taste-tempting foods comes one representative from each of the 5 decades. A roast turkey with oyster stuffing from the 30s, chocolate chip cake from the 40s, the fabulous cheesecake supreme with strawberry glaze from the 50s, beef fondue. What the fuck were they smoking in the 60s? And honey oatmeal bread from the 70s. Each recipe has been tested for today's ingredients and cooking equipment. Beef fondue. I think I'll have to pass on that one. This is just a foreword from the editors. Oh, here we go. They mentioned fondue right here. Sorry to break the relaxing candor or cadence to the voice, but this is ridiculous. Why is there so much fondue? In the 1960s, fondue pots came on the market, and women learned that cooking at the table is not only fun for guests, but frees the hostess from kitchen duties. Gourmet cooking and convenience foods court the cook as more people travel and more women are employed outside the home. This was compiled from Better Homes and Gardens magazine, so a lot of these recipes are geared toward the American housewife. 10 cents in July 1933, that's approximately, I want to say, $3 today. My phone is filming this, so I can't exactly check it on the fly. So if anybody wants to double check my inflation math for this Better Homes and Gardens magazine, please do so. I know for the 1950s, specifically 1955, you simply multiply by 10, or you used to simply multiply by 10. That was before the pandemic. So if this was a July 1955 catalog, this would roughly cost you $1 today, but 33, I think it's more like 300%, something like that. So about $3.50. The ups and downs of the 30s are legendary. The Wall Street crash was followed by the Great Depression, but it also was a time of uncomplicated living. Instead of a television, the family surrounded the radio for the Saturday night play or variety program, like Little Orphan Annie, the Oldie, or spend the evening at the Bijou, Bijou. No idea. Watching a double feature of the new talking pictures and family fare centered around macaroni and cheese, potatoes, fish, veal, and pork. In the kitchen, new innovations in equipment began making life easier and speedier. In the 30s, I'm fairly certain you were still able to get slink veal fairly easily. For those of you who don't know what slink veal is, and you don't want to know, which you might not, if you know what veal is, veal's already a pretty barbaric but delicious meat. Veal is calf. The story I was always told, they put the calf into a box about a yard high. It can't move, and they feed it a lot, and when the calf's head hits the top of the box, they kill it, and that's veal. Slink veal, however, is... I do warn you guys, this is not information you might want to hear, so I'll include a chapter to skip over this portion of veal. But veal, for those of you who don't know, is prized for its tenderness and beefy flavor. Slink veal is made from the stillborn calves of cows, and it was banned at some point in the United States. I think you can still get it in parts of Europe fairly easily, but for quite a while, slink veal has been outlawed in the USA. And in general, veal is raised free range, at least in the States. A lot of places under the FDA, I believe, demand that the veal be raised free range and not confined into a box its entire life, its entire short life. But that's neither here nor there. And you may be wondering, have I ever had slink veal? Not that I know of. Alright. In the kitchen, new innovations in equipment began making life easier and speedier, and with the introduction of the mechanical refrigerator, the door was opened to such delights as freezer tray ice creams, gelatin salads, and desserts. I find it interesting that even in the 1970s, people were pining for a time of uncomplicated living. To them, the 30s were about 40 years ago. To us today, 40 years ago would be 1994. And I do feel the same way, that I wish we could go back to a simpler time, that being 1994 or 1974. There is a lot of dialogue, or text, some history. I'll get some excerpts that jump out at me. Entertaining was done at home because of the tight economic situation, and the rituals of formal hospitality became more and more relaxed for club meetings or sorority socials. At an evening buffet, the man of the house often pitched in to help and got a kick out of his new skills. In certain limited circles, he may have offered an aperitif, but until the repeal of Prohibition in 1933, the perfectly legal grenadine was more likely to appear, if at all, in a fruit cup. Prohibition is a massive mistake. I feel prohibitions in general cause more issues than they're worth. Folks in the 30s were very much caught up in regional cookery, and better homes and gardens mirrored this keen interest. Menus and recipes celebrated Boston food customs. Fresh salmon, new potatoes, and green peas, traditional on Bunker Hill Day and the 4th of July. There were mouth-watering foods from Pennsylvania. Okay, I'm done reading that. Pennsylvania is not a real state. Let's look at the pretty picture. This trifold depicts many things, namely a woody or a wooden paneled car, some art deco devices, including the radio. The Hindenburg explosion, I believe that was in 37. Let's see if I can read the paper. Indeed, 1937. Looks like we've got Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the cousin that Theodore Roosevelt famously said he would not want running for presidency, or that he would not trust running for presidency. Gone with the Wind, that's a movie I need to see. Now this sculpture is fairly interesting. It jumps out at me because it looks incredibly familiar. If anybody has ever seen the Fritz Lang film Metropolis, it's a silent film with music that is about a futuristic, metropolis, and the plot is somewhat convoluted, but there's this woman who's replaced with like an android or whatever. You have to see the movie, but this statue bears a striking resemblance to the actress and some of the poses she struck in a unintentionally comical dance number where she was where she took on some of the characteristics of an agent of doom, some Babylonian hullabaloo, I can't remember, but exactly what the symbolism was. Radio City, New York, and King Kong. And there's a little model of the Empire State Building, which I believe was finished in the 20s or very early 30s. I am unsure. I also can't help but notice there is no mention of the Coconut Grove. No, that was in the 40s or 50s, I believe. I think the 50s when the Coconut Grove burnt down in Boston. That was fairly big news at the time, if not a little bit somber. But let's move on to the actual recipes. We've got enough of a history lesson from school, so let's observe some of the choice recipes. Make sure that trifold is put back into place correctly. Here we find a American housewife wondering whether or not smoking inside the home will make the cake taste funny. Recipe features of the 30s. Cook's Round Table. Swap your okay, whatever. That's an activity. Personalities. Ice creams and sorbets. Okay. Here we are. Join the homemakers of the 30s in making ice creams and sorbets in your own refrigerator trays. These homemakers were eager to try recipes that used their newest appliance, the refrigerator. That's understandable. Whenever I buy a new tool, I always come up with a new project to use it. This assortment of ice creams and sorbets is a delightful mixture for those made in refrigerator trays, as well as those made in ice cream freezers. Okay, this is a shameless plug for the cookbook that they offered in the 30s. I really don't care. Daffodil cake, Ozark pudding, I think I'll flip through and read some recipes that jump out at me, like, well, there's 2 on this page that, well, 3 actually, maybe that one is, because that one's named so cryptically, Deep Sea Delight. And then we have corned beef cakes, and then barbecued limas, or limas. Okay, so this, I'll do the Deep Sea Delight and the barbecued limas. I can picture corned beef cakes in a way, but Deep Sea Delight, and here we have a little excerpt, or a quotation. From the genial cook of a quaint tea room in New Orleans came this recipe for Deep Sea Delight. Tuna is the then unusual deep sea ingredient in this forerunner of today's standby, the tuna noodle casserole. They made that into an MRE and it was foul. I'll never forget that. And that's a real thing. Deep Sea Delight used to be one of the 24 exclusive meals served to troops, the poor troops stationed over in Desert Storm. They cracked that bad boy open and they got some absolutely foul, like, tuna casserole. It was, I've seen pictures and videos, namely one from Steve, 1989. He's a phenomenal repository of information on military rations, and that thing was rough. Wasn't any chicken a la king though. So, Deep Sea Delight, 2 tablespoons butter or margarine, 2 tablespoons all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups of milk, 1 cup shredded processed American cheese, 1 6.5 or 7-ounce can of tuna, drained and flaked, 4 ounces fine noodles, cooked and drained, a 3-ounce can sliced mushrooms, drained, 1/4 cup chopped green pepper, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, a dash of pepper, and a cup of cooked cut asparagus. In saucepan, melt butter, blend in flour, add milk all at once, cook and stir till thickened and bubbly. Stir in 3/4 of a cup cheese, tuna, noodles, mushrooms, green pepper, salt, and pepper. I think I saw Cooking with Jack do this, but he did it with chicken, and the chicken was, no, I remember what he did it with. No, I remember. It was something else entirely. Some other foul casserole thing that had cool in it. Shout out to Cooking with Jack. I've only gotten salmonella 5 times from following his recipes. Turn half the mixture into a 1.5 quart casserole. Top with asparagus. Top with remaining noodle mixture. Bake at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. Sprinkle with remaining shredded American cheese. Bake 5 minutes longer. Makes 6 servings. What is this? Fucking tuna lasagna? I'm good on that. Barbecued limas. Nobody really eats lima beans anymore. I remember there was a book I read when I was a kid, A Bad Case of the Spots, if anybody remembers that. And that was like the only time I ever heard of lima beans ever mentioned in my day-to-day as a kid, or really in my entire life. But barbecued lima beans calls for 2 cups of dry lima beans, 6 ounces salt pork cut in half-inch cubes. Now that could be confusing to people today. Salt pork. In 1933, it's still feasible that people were making salt pork in the old way. That is to say, in a tub, layered salt, meat, salt, meat, salt, meat until the top of the container, and then sealed off with a brine, and then stored. And typically the salt pork was not pork belly, it was pork shoulder, or any other cut of pork that wasn't the belly typically. And the salt pork you can go out and purchase in a store is very different to the old salt pork, so it remains to be seen what they mean by salt pork. 1/2 cup chopped onion, 1 clove garlic minced, 10 3/4 ounce can condensed tomato soup, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 1 tablespoon packed brown sugar, 2 teaspoons prepared mustard. What? That's something I don't know. Do they mean ground mustard seed or actual yellow mustard, or like mustard? I couldn't tell you. 2 teaspoons Worcestershire sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. Rinse lima beans. Combine with 5½ cups cold water in a saucepan. Bring to boiling. Boil for 2 minutes. Remove from heat and cover. Soak for an hour. Or combine beans in 5½ cups of water and soak overnight. Do not drain. In the skillet, fry the salt pork till browned. So maybe they're talking about the store-bought salt pork, because if it was homemade salt pork in the brine and salted in a barrel, you would have to soak that literally for maybe a day, changing the water every couple of hours. Hopefully less than a day, at least 8 hours, changing the water to bring the salt content down to edible levels. That would be something especially people from the 1970s would have to be told. Remove from the skillet, reserving drippings. Add pork to limas. Simmer, covered, till beans are tender, about 45 minutes. Drain, reserving 1½ cups of liquid in reserved drippings. Cook onion and garlic till onion is tender but not brown. Stir in reserved bean liquid, tomato soup, vinegar, brown sugar, mustard, Worcestershire sauce, and chili powder. Bring to boiling. Simmer 5 minutes. Add beans. Turn into 2-quart casserole. Bake uncovered at 350 for 5 minutes, stirring twice. Serves 8. That will serve a resounding 0 people. For me, I'm not making that. So here are some recipes from famous personalities, apparently, from the 30s. I don't know who any of these people are. Caruso, as Enrico Caruso, as Italy's greatest tenor. Looks like that's salmon. Looking for a really special dish. Try President Roosevelt's boiled salmon with egg sauce. See recipe on page 30. This presidential favorite features a dressed salmon accented by a creamy egg sauce. Sprinkle with paprika and garnish with parsley and lemon slices. Treat your guests to the rich goodness of Henry A. Wallace's cheese souffle, a favorite of the former vice president. This puffy creation of eggs milk and cheese tastes as good as it looks. It's sure to please even the most critical gourmet. Lamb with caper sauce. Luchow's, but oh, I love potato pancakes. There really isn't anything special about those potato pancakes, unfortunately. What in the hell? Macaroni Mickey Mouse. After I read this, we're moving on to the 1940s. Cook 1 cup elbow macaroni in boiling salted water till tender. Drain. Melt a 1/4 cup of butter or margarine in 1½ cups hot milk. Pour over 1 cup soft breadcrumbs. Add 1½ cups shredded, sharp, processed American cheese, 2 tablespoons finely chopped onion, 2 tablespoons finely minced canned pimento, 1 tablespoon snipped parsley so they drew in pimento cheese before it was cool, 1/2 tablespoon salt, 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, dash of paprika, and cooked macaroni. Blend in 3 beaten eggs and turn into a greased 9 by 5 by 3 inch loaf pan. Make it 325 for 45 to 50 minutes. Let stand for a few minutes before serving. Serve 6. I don't see the Mickey Mouse in that besides Walt Disney. What? That just doesn't have anything to do with Walt Disney, I guess. Walt Disney, working late at a Kansas City art studio, shared his cheese sandwich with mice that scampered about. One clambered up on his drawing board, inspiring his cartoon character. Oscar of the Waldorf's Orange Charlotte. The only thing I know about Waldorf is the salad. You know what? I think I'll just contain this video to the 1930s recipes and do other videos on the other decades because this is already 30 minutes of ASMR. I don't want to have this go on for like 4 hours or whatever. So here we have some of the much talked about ice creams and sorbets. Those actually look really good. I'm not gonna lie, I got a bit of a sweet tooth. Here we have English toffee. toffee ice cream, cranberry sorbet, and apricot chiffon ice cream, all pictured opposite, are ideal for taking the heat off a hot summer afternoon. These flavors will be favorites for ice cream fans of all ages. That is definitely for sure. When the mechanical refrigerator replaced the icebox, the great American dessert became more than a 4th of July treat. Enjoyment of easy-to-make ice creams became part of the American way of life. The Iceman still patrolled the streets with his cry of ice. But it was the freezing tray, tucked away in the ice cube compartment of the refrigerator, that stirred the imagination and creativity of more than 7,800 homemakers who submitted recipes to the frozen dessert recipe contest. In August of 1932, 6 shiny new refrigerators were moved into the test kitchen to test the entries. In that first contest, a creamy vanilla ice cream was the win. What? Are you shitting me? In succeeding years, luscious variations such as the date nut and chocolate macaroon capitalized upon the goodness of that basic recipe. Still other versions relied on gelatin or sweetened condensed milk for smoothness. Alright. Let's see what's so fucking special about this vanilla ice cream, dude. 2 cups of milk, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 2 slightly beaten egg yolks, 2 teaspoons vanilla, 2 stiffly beaten egg whites, 1 cup of whipping cream. In heavy saucepan, combine milk, sugar, egg yolks, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Cook the mixture over medium-low heat, stirring constantly till mixture coats a metal spoon. Stir in vanilla. Fold custard mixture into the stiffly beaten egg whites. Chill thoroughly. Whip the cream till thick and custard-like. Fold cream into the chilled custard mixture. Pour into 2 3-cup refrigerator trays. Place in freezer. Stir every 30 minutes. The first 1.5 hours. Freeze till firm. Makes 5.5 cups. Sounds good, actually. Peppermint ice cream. English toffee ice cream. That one's just called favorite ice cream. Toasted almond ice cream. Graham cracker ice cream. Banana freeze. In a larger bowl combined. Okay, so this calls for 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice, 1 cup of mashed ripe banana, 2 bananas, so 2 bananas is 1 cup, 1 cup whipping cream. In a larger bowl, combine sweetened condensed milk and lemon juice. Stir just till milk begins to thicken. Stir in mashed banana. Whip the cream until thick and custard-like. Fold the whipped cream into the banana mixture. Freeze mixture in 2 3-cup refrigerator trays for 1 hour. Break into chunks into a chilled mixer bowl. Beat with an electric mixer till smooth. Return to cold refrigerator trays. Freeze freeze 1 hour. Repeat beatings procedure. Freeze firm. Makes 5 cups. If anybody actually makes these recipes, let me know in the comments. Link a video or something like that. I'm really curious how any of these would come out. Green Gauge ice cream. Honey orange ice. Oahu frappe. Okay. Cranberry sorbet. When Sunday dinner was a regular family gathering, sorbets weren't always relegated to the end of the meal. Mother knew that a small portion of cranberry sorbet or ginger ale pineapple sorbet was exceedingly good with the Sunday roast. You can relive this pleasant custom on holiday occasions by serving one of these tasty sorbets along with a turkey, beef, or ham. Both sorbets are easy to make. The cranberry version is frozen in a refrigerator tray, although the ginger ale sorbet does require an ice cream freezer. There are electric models available that take no hand power to turn the freezer crank. Good eating during the 30s. Tempting appetizers and refreshing drinks. Treat your guests to a variety of canapes, appetizers, and beverages that will start any meal with a flair. Main dish medleys. For a perfect main dish, choose from chicken, goose, turkey, veal, beef, lamb, pork, ham, or oyster. Recipes. Vegetables with variety. Select vegetables to tempt even the fussiest eater, including potatoes, turnips, acorn, squash, and cauliflower. Salad roundup. Try inviting a salad to perk up your menu. Included here are molded and tossed salads, salad dressings, even pickles. Bakery classics. It's hard to pass up warm from the oven breads when you have these rolls, popovers, muffins, and breads to choose from. Old-fashioned confections. Pick your favorites from these cookies, candies, puddings, cakes, pies, and refrigerator desserts. They're easy to make and sure to be a hit with the whole family. For those special occasions, try elegant hollyhock house roast lamb, citrus avocado salad, feather rolls, and apricot wafer dessert in the back there. That lamb looks honestly really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Same with the apricot wafer dessert. Looks delicious. Tempting appetizers and refreshing drinks. Oyster cocktail. Waldorf paste for crackers. Pineapple mint cup. Where the drinks. Grape iceberg. Here we are. It's more my speed. Pin gin punch. There is no gin in it. Okay, moving on. because chicken tetrazzini, I love tetrazzini. Chicken a la king, or as the troops called it, chicken a la thing. This is yet another home-style classic gone MRE. And as the name implies, it did not go well. Minestrone. Or minestrone. And there's that roast lamb. I see a couple recipes that I want to read out. And it's not the chicken olive thing up there. One of them is this India chicken curry. Curry, long an Indian specialty, came to this country via World War II, when GIs stationed in India learned to like chicken curry. Hut hut. This is the 30s. World War II was in 41. At least as far as most Americans are concerned. So why is this here? Okay. The dish gets its pungency from curry powder, a blend of spices based on combinations of turmeric, cumin, coriander, fenugreek, and red pepper. Fenugreek, that brings up some memories of our freighter, or the chosen well of souls. Not the narrator, but Calidus, the mage, brings up fenugreek in a very interesting way. To get the most flavor from curry powder, heat it in butter before adding it to other ingredients. So for the chicken curry, you need half a cup of finely chopped onion, 1/2 of a cup of finely chopped celery, 1/4 cup butter or margarine, 1/3 of a cup all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon curry powder, 2 cups of chicken broth, 1 cup tomato juice, 1 teaspoon Worcestershire sauce. I don't fucking know how to say that, goddamn. 3 cups cubed cooked chicken or turkey. I hate saying it, but turkey has less flavor than chicken somehow. That shouldn't be possible, but it is. Hot cooked rice and condiments. In saucepan, cook onion and celery in butter till tender but not brown. Stir in flour and curry powder. Add chicken broth, tomato juice. Add Worcestershire sauce. Cook and stir over medium heat till thickened and bubbly. Add salt and pepper to taste. Stir in chicken. Heat through. Serve over hot cooked rice. Past condiments. Chutney, chopped hard cooked egg white, sieved hard cooked egg yolk, chopped peanuts, grated coconut, and slash or crumbled a crisp cooked bacon. Make 6 servings. That sounds really good, actually. I'm a big Indian food person. I enjoy Indian food even though it doesn't agree with me. This is the other recipe I wanted to read. As you can see, it's stuffed frankfurters. I am horrified at what this could be. 3 cups toasted bread cubes. That equates to 4 slices of bread, 1 cup of chopped celery, 1/2 cup evaporated milk, 2 tablespoons of chopped onion, 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper, 1/8 of a teaspoon of rubbed sage, 2 tablespoons butter or margarine melted, 10 glizzies, 10 slices of bacon partially cooked. Mix bread cubes, celery, evaporated milk, onion, and seasonings. Add butter. Mix thoroughly. Split frankfurters lengthwise, cutting to but not through opposite. Oh, cutting to but not through opposite side. They need a comma. I should call Better Homes and Gardens and let them know their cookbook needs a comma on page 45 on the stuffed frankfurter recipe. Fill the cavities with stuffing. Wrap each frank with a slice of bacon. Secure with wooden picks. Place in a 13 by 9 by 2 inch baking pan. Bake at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. Serves 10. I don't know. That sounds, okay, I guess. Oh, here we are. Pretty pictures. An elegant way to please guests at a holiday meal is to serve roast goose with bread stuffing. Garnish the goose with spicy cinnamon apples. Is that what white people think are spicy? Cinnamon. Filled with cream cheese and walnuts. Sounds good. Orange glazed ham. Makes a perfect center of attraction for any meal. Round out the tangy goodness of the ham with jellied cider molds placed on top of colorful apple wedges. Me personally, I hate ham. I really don't enjoy it. It used to be on every Christmas meal, and I learned to despise Christmas meals because of the ham. Always came out dry. My mother could make great lasagna, but her ham didn't really work. I think it's what you use like that pre-bought stuff with the glaze in the packet and shit. Tri-City chicken. This delicious combination of pork and veal on a skewer was used by city dwellers of the 30s as a substitute for chicken, which was very expensive. Why would you? So they made themselves something better than chicken because they couldn't afford chicken. Those guys really wanted an inferior meat. At least when it comes to flavor. Hard-cooked eggs, ham, prepared mustard, Worcestershire sauce, and onion all go into savory deviled eggs. I've never had a deviled egg in my life. I kinda always wanted to try one. This simple but elegant dish makes a perfect main dish for a special luncheon or late evening supper. I guarantee if I made deviled eggs on a date, she'd probably slap the fuck out of me. Salmon korokke, salmon souffle, twin meatloafs, favorite meatloaf, pork pie. There's that deviled egg. Surprise tuna pie, oyster stew, deviled oyster. Yo, okay, I'm good. Here's the vegetables. salad roundup, cranberry relish. This is what passed as a salad in the 30s. That's a whole tomato stuffed with cream cheese, it looks like, or egg yolk, or egg white. No, that is indeed Philadelphia cream cheese inside of a tomato. I think I will, I'll end the video here and just close out on some page-turning noises. I hope you all enjoyed listening to the video, and I hope you all are feeling more relaxed or have hopefully fallen asleep by this point. Cherry divinity, pineapple, meringue cake, conker, grape pie, yum yum, date loaf, squash pie, chocolate nut